100. Bullseye. Well done.
Oh no, sorry, that's wrong.
How's it going, Star Seekers? My name's Luke and welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to be checking out Bullseye on the Nintendo Switch. Brought to us by publisher Sabek, the same team who recently released the now legendary calculator game. Bullseye is essentially a quiz game where you have to throw darts to earn points and then answer questions correctly to bank those points.
Well done.
Now, being based on a very popular 80s and 90s British game show, it's very likely that the game has caught the attention of the old crusties out there who used to tune in every Saturday or Sunday afternoon. But how well does this timeless TV quiz show translate to a modern console, and should you be dropping a whopping 13 quid on this little dose of nostalgia? In this review, I aim to answer those questions, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and want to see more, and let's get into it. So if like me you're British and grew up around the 80s, then you'll no doubt have heard of Bullseye. Alongside staple TV shows such as Noel's House Party and The Generation Game, a bit of bully was something that the whole family could enjoy, though in all honesty it was never really my cup of tea. Now the game has just released on the Nintendo Switch, where it's available for £12.99 on the UK eShop, and rather surprisingly $12.99 on the US eShop. And the game appears to be themed around the more modern 90s version of the TV show rather than the original 80s version. Upon starting the game, we're presented with a familiar image of good old Bully the Bull, and a view of the set which actually appears to be pretty true to the actual TV show set, complete with a blank staring audience who remain motionless throughout the entirety of the game. Now Bullseye can be played with up to 4 players, all using the same controller, and the controls for the game are as simple as they come. We move our floating dart around with the left thumbstick, rotate it with the right thumbstick to aim it, and then hold the ZR button to apply power before releasing it to throw our dart.
Oh no, you've missed.
Following this, if we actually manage to hit our mark, then a question will pop up on the screen, and we then just need to press the corresponding face button to answer it.
That's right, well played.
So I'll start by talking about how the actual dart elements of the game work, since without them it's basically just a trivia game. Now Bullseye features 4 different rounds. The first 3 rounds are where players rack up the points by answering questions, and each of these rounds features a different kind of dartboard. The first board has a selection of categories around the outside with your dart placements determining which type of question you're asked. The second is a timed round featuring a standard dartboard with players having 2 minutes to answer as many random questions as they can, and the final dartboard is a red and black board where only the red sections actually grant you points. After playing through the first 3 rounds, you then move on to the 4th and final round, and this is where players get to choose whether to gamble and double all of the points, but they then have to earn at least 101 points on a standard dartboard using 6 darts.
That's a bullseye.
Now when it comes to actually aiming and throwing the darts, unfortunately this is where the whole dart side of thing really misses the mark for me. Unlike other dart games which usually have an on-screen cursor which moves around and then you've got to time your throws to hit your mark, in Bullseye there's actually no indicator, and so it initially seems practically impossible to tell where your dart is going to land. After playing a couple of games though, you'll soon realise that this is not the case, as your hand is always as steady as a rock, as though you've been popping some of Solid Snake's diazepam, and each round your darts will either fall high or low by an exact amount. Now what all of this means is that the power meter is pretty much redundant, and once you've memorised the dart offsets, darts will land in exactly the same spot every single time so long as you position them correctly. You can simply aim at the centre of the dartboard, rotate your dart slightly towards where you want to hit and then tap your throw button, and you can literally hit a bullseye every single time if you like. And overall I just didn't think the darts mechanics required any sort of skill, and every throw was pretty predictable.
That's a bullseye. Well played.
Now when it comes to the game's questions, there actually appeared to be a decent balance of questions covering recent and historic topics that both modern and older generations would know the answers to. The range of topics was good, covering things like films, books, history and science, and in general the questions didn't seem to be that difficult, though my knowledge of most of these topics are pretty limited, resulting in many wrong answers.
Oh no, sorry.
Now despite the trivia side of things being pretty decent, one thing that I did find a little disappointing was the fact that there are no difficulty settings, nor are there any regional settings, and so there's no way to really tailor the questions to the audience. I can only assume that they've tried to balance the game with questions that both American and British gamers would know the answers to, but the game is supposedly aimed at people of all ages, and based on the questions that I saw, I really don't think that younger audiences would be able to answer many of them. So overall, Bullseye isn't a terrible game, but it certainly isn't a great game either. Staying true to the TV show, I found the dart aspects of it to be pretty damn dull, and while it does work out well as a simple trivia game, there aren't many other trivia games out there that offer much more engaging experiences. Now on the audio and visual side of things, as I said before, the set design was well done and it's pretty true to the original TV set, but the overall quality of the visuals is pretty low. We get some very simple textures and a static audience, and the whole thing just has the feel of being knocked together by an amateur 3D model designer. On the audio side, we get some of the classic Bullseye sound effects such as the Bullseye,
That's a bullseye!
commentary featuring sound clips of what I assume is Jim Bowen,
Well played. That's right.
and a single ragtime tune which is reminiscent of the TV show's original theme tune, though I guess they just couldn't get the license to actually use it.
Oh no, that's not right.
So when all's said and done, and when it comes to my own personal rating of the game, I'm going to be giving Bullseye 2 out of 5 stars. If you wanted to recapture a bit of nostalgia and have always fancied being on Bullseye, then you might consider buying Bullseye. But for anyone else just looking for a trivia game to play over a few beers, then there are plenty of cheaper alternatives available on the eShop. And that's about it for this review of Bullseye on the Nintendo Switch. Make sure to hit that like button if it helped you out. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game and whether you loved a bit of Bully back in the day. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as I upload new Nintendo Switch game reviews every few days. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.